Imagine this. Tonight, you find out you've won the lottery. Millions of dollars. Your life changed overnight. How would that feel? You'd probably think, that's it. All my problems are over. But here's the truth. Research shows that most lottery winners, just a few months later, end up right back where they started, emotionally, sometimes even worse. So why does this happen? From childhood, we're taught that money is the key to happiness. More money, a bigger house, a more expensive phone. These all become symbols of success and happiness in our minds. Social media pours fuel on this fire. Every single day we scroll past someone showing off their new car, someone posting photos from an exotic vacation, someone flaunting their luxury lifestyle. Advertisements send the same message. Buy this product, and your life will change. Slowly, our brain starts to believe, if I just had a little more money, I'd finally be happy. This creates an interesting cycle. Whenever we feel like something is missing in our lives, our brain instantly searches for a solution, and that solution is almost always money. Need a new phone? Money. Want a bigger house? Money. Want people to respect you? Money. We tell ourselves that just a little more will fix everything. But when we finally get that little more, the happiness lasts only a few days or weeks. And then, that same empty feeling creeps back in. But here's where a hidden feature of our brain comes into play. One that completely changes this entire happiness equation. And until you understand it, you'll never be able to break free from this cycle. Most people believe money automatically creates happiness, that once the bank balance goes up, everything else falls into place. But here's something important to understand. Money can absolutely solve financial problems. It can pay off debt, cover bills, buy security. What it cannot do is solve psychological problems. Loneliness, anxiety, low self-worth, broken relationships. No amount of money fixes these. In fact, for many lottery winners, sudden wealth ends up amplifying these issues instead of curing them. So today, we're going to dig into the psychology, the brain science, and real-life stories that explain exactly why winning the lottery so often fails to bring the lasting happiness people expect. The hidden feature I mentioned? It's called hedonic adaptation. And once you understand it, this entire lottery mystery starts to make perfect sense. Here's how it works. When something amazing happens to us, say, winning a huge sum of money, our brain releases a flood of dopamine, the chemical responsible for pleasure and excitement. In that moment, we feel euphoric, almost invincible. But dopamine was never designed to stay high forever. Within weeks, sometimes even days, our brain recalibrates. That flood of dopamine settles back down to its normal baseline. And once that happens, the excitement fades, no matter how much money is sitting in the bank. His is why everyday luxuries eventually feel ordinary. Think about it in your own life. Remember buying a new phone? For the first few days you were excited, showing it off, exploring every feature. But a few weeks later, it's just a phone. You barely notice it anymore. The same thing happens with a new car. That new car smell, the thrill of driving it for the first time. It fades. Within a month or two, it just becomes your car, a normal part of daily life. Now imagine that same process happening with millions of dollars. The mansion becomes just the house. The luxury car becomes just a car. The excitement fades exactly the same way, just on a bigger scale. But here's the thing. Losing that initial excitement isn't actually the biggest problem lottery winners face. So if losing excitement isn't the biggest issue, What is? The real problems start after the celebration ends. First, there's increased anxiety and pressure. Suddenly, decisions that used to be simple, where to invest, who to trust, how to manage this new life, become overwhelming. Many winners describe feeling more stressed after winning than they ever did before. Then comes the fear of losing it all. Ironically, having more money often creates more fear, not less. Winners become obsessed with protecting their wealth, terrified of bad investments, scams, or simply spending it away. Family conflicts are incredibly common too. Relatives who were never close suddenly reappear, asking for loans or their share. Arguments over money can tear families apart. The very people winners expected to celebrate with become sources of tension. So if money doesn't guarantee happiness, what does? Psychologists point to 3 core needs: purpose, growth, and meaningful relationships. These aren't just nice ideas. They're built into how our brain works. Here's the key distinction. There's a difference between pleasure and fulfillment. Pleasure is quick and fleeting. It's the dopamine spike from winning money, eating your favorite food, or buying something new. Fulfillment works differently. It comes from a different, more sustained kind of brain activity, tied to progress, connection, and meaning. It builds slowly, but it lasts far longer. This is exactly why achievements create longer-lasting satisfaction than luck. When you earn something through effort, skill, and time, your brain attaches meaning to it. Every obstacle you overcome adds to a story of growth. Luck, on the other hand, gives you the reward without the story. There's no struggle to look back on, no growth to feel proud of. Just a result that appeared out of nowhere. Think about the difference between 2 people. One spends years building a business from scratch, facing failures, learning from mistakes, slowly growing something with their own hands. The other receives a huge sum of money overnight, with no effort involved. On paper, the person with instant wealth might have more money, but the business builder often reports something the lottery winner doesn't: deep pride, a sense of identity, and lasting satisfaction. Why? Because their brain experienced the entire journey, not just the destination. The struggle itself became part of what makes the success feel meaningful. This is the real difference between winning and earning, and it's exactly why sudden wealth, without purpose or growth attached to it, so often fails to deliver lasting happiness. So what does actual, lasting happiness depend on? Research consistently points to the same handful of factors, and none of them require winning the lottery. Strong relationships top almost every study on happiness. Having people who genuinely care about you, who you can trust and lean on, matters more than any bank balance ever could. Good physical and mental health comes next. No amount of money can buy peace of mind or energy in your body, but taking care of both creates a foundation happiness can actually grow on. Then there's meaningful work. Not necessarily a high-paying job, but work that feels purposeful, that makes you feel like you're contributing to something bigger than yourself. Personal growth matters too. Humans are wired to feel fulfilled when we're learning, improving, becoming a better version of ourselves, not staying static, no matter how comfortable that static life might be. Interestingly, research also shows that it's financial security, not unlimited wealth, that actually matters. Once your basic needs and a reasonable cushion are covered, more money adds surprisingly little to your day-to-day happiness. The difference between having enough and having millions more is far smaller than most people assume. And finally, gratitude and intentional living. People who consciously appreciate what they already have, who live with purpose rather than on autopilot, consistently report higher happiness. Regardless of their income, none of these 6 things can be bought overnight. They're built slowly, deliberately, over time. So let's go back to where we started. Winning the lottery isn't the problem. The real problem is believing that money alone can solve every emotional struggle in your life. Money is undeniably powerful. It can remove financial stress, create opportunities, and give you freedom you didn't have before. But it was never designed to replace purpose, relationships, or inner peace. No amount of it can buy back what only time, effort, and connection can build. Real wealth isn't a number in a bank account. Real wealth is having enough money to live comfortably, while also building a life full of meaning, growth, and people who genuinely care about you. If this video changed the way you think about money and happiness, subscribe to Rewire Wealth, because understanding your mind is the first step toward building real wealth. And remember, the richest life isn't measured by what's in your bank account. It's measured by what's in your mind.